Sheri Salata was living in Napa Valley with no plans to move when a Serenbe resident just happened to send her a link to our website, thinking it would be the perfect place to lead a retreat. After perusing the website and reading about Serenbe's commitment to nature, the arts, and community, it didn't take long for her to realize that not only did she want to lead a retreat here, she also wanted to move and plant her roots for good. Sheri had jumped from job to job until she got a big break at the Oprah Winfrey Show, a roller coaster of a role that eventually culminated with working as the iconic show's final executive producer. Then, after a few years of even bigger roles as president of Harpo and OWN, Sheri decided it was time for her to go out on her own. Nowadays, she's the CEO of The Support System, a private membership platform for women who want to reimagine their lives and manifest all of their possibilities. She's also an acclaimed author and leads these women's retreats all over the world. In this episode of Serenbe Stories, I'm joined by Garnie to chat with Sheri all about her very inspiring career trajectory, the importance of connecting to place, and her top 3 can't-miss things to do here at Serenbe.
I like to live in pretty areas, and I like beauty, and I was like, oh, it'd be nice someday to, live in nature, and I knew that on some level, but I didn't realize how profoundly impactful place can be on every bit of our lives.
Sheri, thank you so much for being on Serenbe Stories with us today.
I could not be more delighted that I do have a Serenbe story.
You've made it here.
I've made it. I've made the big time.
Yeah, and we also have Garnie with us co-hosting today. Hi, Garnie.
I'm so happy to be here. Sheri's one of my favorite people.
Garnie, I think you sealed the deal for me. You and Raina just spun me like a top. And I was like, my feet are wings. How fast can I get here?
So the first thing we always ask everybody when we have on, I was going to say Sheri Stories. When you're on Sheri Stories, when you're on Serenbe Stories.
Sheri's Serenbe Stories. I have many.
What is your Serenbe story? How did you find us and how did you get here?
It's mystical. It's crazy. It'll make your hair fall out of your head. It's the craziest thing. A year ago Thanksgiving, I'm doing my works. Oop, I hit the thing. I'm a producer. That was so crazy. I just did that. It was so not cool as a podcast guest to be knocking the equipment around. So forgive me for that. So I am living the life in Napa Valley, and I had no intention. Like, listen, I wasn't crazy about the fires. Every now and then I'd be like, but I liked it. It was rustic. It was beautiful. No thoughts of moving whatsoever, and building my digital empire of courses and memberships and things like that for women, which I could do from my house. So I'm like, I just have the best of all the worlds. And one of the women who I'd never met in my big membership group emailed me and said, and I didn't know who she was. And she just said, I moved to a really cool place last year. You might want to do a retreat here, because I was leading retreats in different places around the world. And so I'm like, well, just so happened I got the email. I clicked on the link. This is a big shout out to you, my friend.
Oh, I'll take it.
Big marketing wizard. That homepage of the website came up. And I was like, I looked at it and I said, oh, I'm supposed to live there. I am supposed to live in this place.
Okay.
And it's, I just fell for it. I was entranced. I was enchanted. I just kept going through the website. And then I started looking at what's for sale and, how could I be there? And what else is there? What are the amenities? What's the place like? I just went crazy. I mean, all I needed was the website. I did book a visit for a couple days, but I wouldn't have even needed that.
Okay. That's good. That's rare. Thank you. I think the website is beautiful and we work really hard on it, but sometimes, people think maybe that's not real, or I've got to come visit. I need to put my feet on the land to really feel it. But I like that. I'll take it.
Well, here's what spoke to me, because I was in the middle of rustic beauty. I'd finally gotten there after years of living in Chicago, in the city, and love Chicago. But I'd kind of squeezed the juice out of that experience, and then lived in LA. And then I was in Napa. I'm like, this is the life. But I still was looking for something that was like, I wanted to hang my hat up. Like, this is where I'm going to grow my roots. Because I'd be like, am I growing my roots here? is that what this feels like? And I'd be like, nah, it doesn't really quite feel like that. I wanted to grow my roots. I wanted to say, this is where I live. This is where I'm from. And I wanted beauty. I wanted cool things happening around me. And I wanted community. And shockingly, those three things are often hard to get together. You can get the beauty, but you're the only one out there in the middle of nowhere by yourself.
Yeah, they totally are, right?
You know,
Yeah.
It's a little challenging. So when I did make the visit, which was within like 6 weeks, when I first met you, Garnie,
Yeah.
and you as well.
Yeah, we had
all
dinner.
met.
Yeah,
We had dinner.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's right. That's right. You turned it on for me. You turned it on.
We did it.
Um,
For the
I mean,
specials.
I got here and I was like, because I was staring at that watercolor map, which I see right over there on the wall here in the development
Yeah.
office, that watercolor map. And it just looked like magic to me. I'm like, oh, look at how it turns this way and that way. And I was just like, gosh, I hope I haven't been staring at that map so long that real life isn't going to look as good. And so I had the map, but I'm like, open your eyes. And I'm like, it does. It looks like the map. It looks like the map. And just being driven around in a golf cart and seeing so many interesting looking people and just from hamlet to hamlet and the trees and the forests and I really was gobsmacked, as you know. And then we all had dinner and I was like, who are these people? Who are all these? They're like go-getters and dream builders and authors and just people who are like, I just want to live there. And it doesn't really matter, but there is a vibe. There is something so cool going on here. And people who have done remarkable things just mixed in with people who haven't. And it all kind of makes this beautiful stew. That's Serenbe.
Yeah. And I remember that first weekend when you were leaving, you were like, is this real? Like, did you all just concoct this? And when I actually get here, is it all going to just feel like you just produced this big gotcha? So how do you feel like almost a year into living here from that first weekend to a year in?
It does not disappoint.
Yeah.
It doesn't disappoint. It's just deeper and richer. And I've never been anywhere here like this. I've been to beautiful communities. Yeah. There's some people who do some nice developments, but it's not so intentional and soulful as it is here, where I know that every decision that's gone into putting this together is done with such meaning and such purpose. And that at the heart of it is a better way of living. And I start listen, I could sing the song, Serenbe, Serenbe, better way of living. I could do the commercial because it continues to I'm going to go down to Halsey and have a coffee. That's because it's right there. Then I'm going to walk over here and get my mail. Then it just feels like it's the ideal cool version of Hooterville.
Yes. And I think we've talked about that because some people don't instantly get it, and some people love being here and aren't necessarily tuned in to why it is, and that's great.
Yeah.
But for you, we've had the conversation that you're in the middle of the work, have done the work really, not in the middle of, and leading other people in the work. So when you tuned in to what was happening here, you were kind of instantly like, yes, because you were open to it. And past open to it, you were looking for it.
Yes, Garnie. And here's what I'm telling you that I know so clearly now. I'm not sure I knew this before, how much place matters.
Yes.
I mean, I knew it mattered. I like to live in pretty areas and I like beauty. And I was like, oh, it'd be nice someday to, live in nature. And I knew that on some level, but I didn't realize how profoundly impactful place can be on every bit of our lives.
Yep. I often, like my husband and I will say, we have 3 little kids. We have to really, really find a great vacation because otherwise we would just rather stay home. Like we'd rather just stay home on vacation and hike in the woods and go to the pool. And I'm like, I want to make my, so it's like, I think that is a moment that you can ask yourself of do I live somewhere that I'd rather stay home than go on an average vacation?
Well,
And most people can't say yes.
No, people can't wait to get out. And I've been one of those people. But yeah, I was only here. When did I move here? July 1st ish. And I was getting ready to go to Italy in September. I was like, oh, I got to go to Italy. I'm like, why am I saying it like that? I got to go to Italy, to Umbria,
Oh, poor
Assisi,
thing.
and Cordona. And it was precisely for that reason. It's like, oh, I don't want to leave it yet. I don't want to leave this yet.
Yeah.
Because the minute I got here, I can feel my little roots that have been root bound, like living places, but like, no, I don't think this is going to be long. I don't see this much longer than 3 or 4 years. This is different. Like I could instantly feel my little roots growing and saying, this is a place you want to be from. And now that I have an understanding of how place can impact my own expansion and my own development and my own growth and my own daily happiness, I'm never giving that up.
Yep. And encouraging other people to find it somewhere.
Yeah.
Like if they can't be here, go find it wherever you are. Right. I try to always say to people, like, do not be complacent with where you live because it's profound in terms of our happiness, our mental health. And
I just had a big group of women here for a weekend event, and I could hear them chattering like, I got to go home and find a way to do this where I'm home. And I'm like, good luck with that.
I was like,
good luck with that. But, there are things that you can do. I see now that, I never was a big, like, creating community where I lived necessarily because I went to and from work, garage to garage. This, though, is you would have to be the most curmudgeonly shut in not to be a part of the community.
Yeah.
Because there's opportunities 10 times a day and you kind of get to decide. It's not overwhelming. I mean, like I landed here and the next thing you know, I was in the front porch at the 4th of July parade and I was like, oh my God, I'm in a movie. Oh my God, the ukulele ladies on the float. Oh my God, I'm in a movie. Oh, and people are handing me Bloody Marys and the whole town's out. I'm like, oh my God, this is such a movie. And what I love about it is there is so much to do and so much to participate in and so many people to meet and dinner parties and front porch things. And yet you could just stay in your house and just dip in and out of it as you choose. So this is a place of free choice. This is a place where you come to really, I think for me, I am going to be building here the best third of my life.
Oh.
And I've had a pretty good first couple, but this is going to be the killer one, the one where I get it and I really make it happen, manifest it.
So you're giving me a perfect segue to ask the question of what was before. And then we'll get into what's going on now. Because I really want to dig into that too. But what was your career before? In Chicago and Los Angeles? And then I think, were you in Healdsburg? Is that where you were in the Napa area? So beautiful.
I was in St. Helena.
Okay.
Yes. Healdsburg is very beautiful. Well, I have a crazy story. I had, maybe 12, 13, 14 jobs and the same number of 401ks by the time I was 27.
Okay.
And just desperately trying to find, what am I offering? What is my thing? And it seemed like I was behind. Everybody else was in their banking programs or, getting their masters. And I was still just kind of fumbling at high intensity, from opportunity to opportunity, but not quite nailing it. And finally, at 35, let this be a story of hope to all who listen. At 35, I got an entry-level job at the Oprah Winfrey Show as a promo producer. And 35, I was one of the older ones in the building, 35. And that began a 20-year odyssey for me that culminated. I was the final executive producer of the Oprah Show, which it still doesn't even seem like that was possible. And then ultimately the co-president of Harpo and of OWN. And it was a once-in-a-lifetime ride, but certainly like a roller coaster.
Sure, I bet.
Ask me how much of it I can remember. I can remember a few highlights here and there, but it was really, really dense and really intense and really great and really hard. And when people make the comment like, well, it's not brain surgery, Gosh, it felt like it. You know, it felt like we had women all over the world that we were uplifting in a way that they had no other way to be uplifted. So it did feel really important, and it felt like we had to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt the pressure of that, and the legacy of the show. The show had already been on for 10 years before I started. So I was walking into a legend,
Sure.
you know, something that was already really on track. And, you know, that was, I mean, I won the lottery that day.
No, it's probably
for
one of
sure.
the most
It changed
influential TV shows that has ever been on and
It
possibly
changed
will ever
everything,
be
yeah.
on. And people think those things, they look so easy and effortless, but there's so much complexity behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I think the density that you said, I think
Yeah.
is really interesting because, and that's how you miss it. And that's kind of how you miss life because it's so dense.
Yeah.
And so that was when you were in Chicago.
Yeah, I was in Chicago. So really a long time. So I had fumbled around in my 20s, and in my early 30s, I got a big break to work at an ad agency. And that's where I learned how to produce, and then got that big break. And every single time I got a bit of a break, I had to start all over. It was like, oh, how much are you going to pay me? I'm like, oh my Lord. Okay. All right. No problem. No problem. I'll work my way up again. I just had this, like compass, this knowing that things were going to work out, that things were coming together, that there was a big life in store. And I just wouldn't give up.
Mm-hmm.
I just would not give up, no matter what. So yeah, so that was wonderful and expansive. My spiritual life began there. You know, that's when Eckhart Tolle, Marianne Williamson,
Her guests, Mm-hmm.
Deepak, my beloved Deepak Chopra. I was raised Catholic and then lapsed in college. So I was like, what is this talk? And then I was like, this is good. This is good. We're all energy. Okay. And I mean, I really think that that's why I was there. It might have looked like favorite things and makeovers, but it really was to build this spiritual foundation for a more expansive life. And so after that, we sunsetted the show, we wrapped up at the United Center and took a break, and then went out with a small group and with Oprah to kind of turn that own thing around, and went back and forth between there and Chicago for about 5 years. And then it was time.
Yeah.
It was time.
Yeah.
So that pace was really fairly grueling.
Yeah.
So, and then I became an entrepreneur.
Which is great. And is that what led you to the Napa area? Like, did you know you were looking for space?
I was in LA
Mm-hmm.
and I was on the east side of LA in a lovely house. And I was just like, I feel really isolated. I'm living behind a gate and behind a gigantic hedge. I feel very isolated. And then I realized as business was starting to grow and expand, and I was figuring out, like, oh, look at all those young people. They're working from their homes. Why can't I do that? Why do I have the worst job? You know, from 7 a.m. till, 8 at night in meetings. Why do I have that bad job? And I realized I didn't have to stay in LA. That really was the pivotal moment where if you have a laptop, you have a business. And I'm like, well, where would I want to go? And I'm like, that Napa Valley is real nice. I've been visiting there for a long time. So that's what brought me there.
Okay. So talk about today. Talk about the entrepreneurial you, the stepping out from behind. I read your website. Like, talk about it, like, because you're doing it here. Garnie met all the women the other day. It sounds fascinating. So tell us where the idea came from. What's going on and where's it going?
Well, so I founded the support system after I had started a digital course business. And really, here's all I'm doing. Here's my business. I want to expand and learn and grow and become more of myself. And I want to heal and release the things that keep me stuck and continue to manifest more dreams, a deeper, richer vision for my life. Okay, who else wants to do that?
Everyone.
That really is my business.
Right.
That's my business.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, you want to come?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So that involved creating opportunities to come together with women and talk about that, to stay in the conversation. Because I don't know about you, but the minute I stop having the conversation, then all of a sudden I'm like unconscious for 3 months.
Right. You're building community.
Yeah.
You're building community.
Yeah.
And a virtual platform, but connecting people in a real way.
Exactly.
Because so many people, 98% of America doesn't have what we have here. And so
No.
you have to really be intentional
That's
about
right.
finding community in other places. And so you're offering that for people.
Yes. And I do not get gloomy about Zoom. I think Zoom is the greatest thing. That has
Yeah.
changed. That has
Yeah.
changed everything.
Totally.
Yeah.
That I can meet with women all around the world and have a conversation about something that matters. And we can all walk away like, yeah,
Yep.
I got this.
Yep.
I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep expanding. I'm going to keep growing. So it's evolving all the time. But I would say my big love is the support system, which is the digital platform.
Right. And that's is it 12 or 16 week program?
The support system is a membership. So
Okay.
that's, monthly. And then I bring in experts and guests like my friend Deepak. And it's like its own land.
Yeah.
It's like its own little land, which is really nice. We meditate every day, all kinds of stuff like that. And then I do other things ancillary to that.
Well, you brought him to
12-week course,
Serenbe.
I brought him to Serenbe. Yeah. All kinds of stuff.
So how was that? That was your first Serenbe retreat? Was that the first one you did?
I slept in my own beddie. It was real nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
No Italy.
It was really nice. It was great. It was great. It was great. First of all, it was great because all the women for that retreat are women from my digital platform. And so that was the first time they'd seen each other in person. So that was real sweet and really uplifting, and really moved me deeply. And then they got to be on this land and this energy. They did the labyrinth walk. They, went to the stable. They had an equine experience. They had it was very, 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 so gratifying to me to see them zooming around in golf carts. Hi, Sheri. Like just taking it all in and really feeling the magic like I feel it.
I can't. I'm going to divert.
Go. Divert.
Because we can't talk about the stables and leave here without talking about Steve.
About Steve.
You have to tell everybody about Steve.
My magical unicorn man horse. Yes, Steve. Steve, again, just like coming to Serenbe, that was just another mystical element. I'm on the phone with a doctor entrepreneur, Anna Quebeca, and she's like, I can't believe you're moving to Georgia. Where are you moving? I'm moving to Serenbe. She goes, oh, I love it there. That is the greatest place in the world. I'm so jealous. She goes, hey, you can have a horse. And I'm like, oh yeah, there's a stable, but I'm not a horse person. I've never had a horse. She goes, you need to have our horse. He's wonderful. And we need to sell him. And I'm like, I don't know. I got 2 dogs. I don't know. I mean, I just realized for myself that 2 dogs isn't 1 dog. And she's like, no, he's really great. I think you'd really love him. I go, okay, send me his picture. She sent me his picture. I burst into tears. I'm like, all right, I'll take him. So for a small fee, Steve
he wasn't free. It wasn't a gift.
He was not free. And I had to move him from Texas to Georgia. However, but talk about opening up your life in a whole new way.
Yes.
There's a language, there's clothing, it's a completely different world. And here is this shaman, this sentient being, this Steve, who also wants to know if he belongs and if he's going to be able to plant his roots here and if he's going to get to stay. And am I going to be his best friend? And will I show up every day? And, I go home and sit on my couch at night and say, okay, here's what else a horse is not a dog. A horse is not a dog. And 2 dogs aren't 1 dog. But a horse is not a dog. I mean, we are in this dance together of deepening heart-to-heart relationship and communication, and also healing, because he will only accept the authentic me.
Yeah.
Like workshop Sheri, who's like razzling dazzling, no matter how I really feel, she's not getting anywhere with him.
Right.
He will only take the authentic me. So it's been a trip.
Horses are much more powerful and magical, right? Than I think, unless you've been around horses, then you can really appreciate and realize.
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
Blue, who's in the field, like just moves people, because I'm like, yes, Blue, this is like Blue's 1,000th time on earth as a horse.
Yes.
And so he just
Right.
knows how to pull you in.
He knows how to. And Garnie, I have to say this, that these lands are sacred lands. This is sacred land. This is not just an any old place.
Yeah.
This land is sacred. And then when you see these horses whether it's by the inn or the stable, they're holding the space. They're holding us together. They're holding the space. They have their own offering. And it is just, I mean, it's beautiful to look at, but it's a healing thing for anybody just to be near it.
Yep, it's so true.
Yeah.
And I love, for some people, it takes 3 years, 5 years, 10 years to jump into all of the things that Serenbe has to offer. And you just like jumped in to the deep end in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Pretty instantly, right? Kind of here, eager for like, let's do this. I want all the best of all of the things. And you know that you have to participate to do that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's another thing that you probably see in all the work that you do. And we'll even see here sometimes people show up and they're like, okay, I moved here. So where's the magic? And it's like, you moved here, step one, like magic is over here when you like actively
that's right.
engage in your life.
Which is true for anywhere.
Anything.
That's the real learning for all of our lives, that what are you going to create?
Right.
But gosh, to do it here where it's like 5,000 choices.
Right.
What are you going to create? Whoa, go to the buffet. I mean, it's a very nice set of choices.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know if we've missed anything before I head into a final question. Is there anything else you want to share with us? Or
I just want to say I have such deep appreciation for the pioneers of Serenbe, for the people like I came here and it was all glittery and sparkly. And I'm like, I'm in. But for the people, for you and your family and the early pioneers of people who saw this forest and said, all right, this is going to be great. Here's my check. Here's my money. I just have so much appreciation for the foresight and the trust and the really talk about surrendering to the universe, because that's why it's possible for me to come tap dancing down Glitter Lane and be like, I want to live there. No, I want to live there. Okay, I'm going to buy that place. Well, maybe I'll buy that place too. and just drop myself in the middle of this in something that's baked.
Yeah.
More to come, more magic to come, but the cake is baked enough where you could see what it is. So I just want to say that. So much appreciation. And I hope all you pioneers that are listening just can feel my deep, deep, heartfelt thanks for your courage and your vision. It's something that every resident here should remember. Wow. You should get extra special things.
Well, the last question we always ask is, what's your favorite thing, or what would you recommend to somebody if they've never been? What should they do?
Okay, well, I made a list.
Ooh, good. Because
there isn't just one thing.
Okay.
But I narrowed it down to 3. So Friday night cocktail tasting with Bethany at the Inn Bar. She may be the best bartender I've ever met in my entire life. And I've met a few. It's amazing. I mean, those cocktails. Because I'm not really I'm usually a wine person. But I'm like, what are you making there? She's like, you want to taste? I'm like, all right. She's amazing. And that bar at the inn is so charming. Then go to everything the Art Farm puts on. Every single thing. Go to everything. Your dad gave me that advice, Garnie. Next thing you know, I'm sitting at chamber music. Then I'm at dancing in the meadows. I mean, just go to all of it. It is an amazing thing to drive 2 minutes home to your house from chamber music.
Right. On a golf cart. In fresh air in the woods.
I mean, it's like I'm getting more culture here than I've gotten in my whole life. It's amazing. Then lastly, join the pool and take Aquafit with Jenny Mathis.
Yes. So good. Highly recommend.
It was the first thing I did. And, I was like, Aquafit, how good could this be? And the next day I could hardly walk. And then I'm like, I love the playlist. This is so fun. I can't wait. Are we doing it?
It is so much fun.
Oh my God. Aquafit is the bomb.
It's coming up again.
It's my favorite.
Soon. Maybe May.
I see her. I'm like, Jenny, the pool looks like it's getting warm. Yeah. And she's an amazing teacher.
She's wonderful.
I just keep finding more things.
All right.
Well, we appreciate you, Sheri, so much. There's a lot of heart gratitude for you and everything that you're bringing.
Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on, and thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah.
Go Serenbe. Yeah. Give me an S.
Give me an E for Sheri Stories. Thanks, Sheri.
Thanks for having me.